any issues with the judiciary. We respect the judiciary, but respect does not mean cowardly silence when injustice screams from the rooftop. Respect does not demand we meekly accept a verdict that suffocates the law, contemptuously ignore the Constitution, and obscenely reward violence with victory. Ladies and gentlemen, affected the results of the elections. These are the three key elements. The court quoted this very law. It recited the text, and then it committed an act of judicial fraud. It completely abandoned the arithmetic. Consider the following undeniable numbers. Our member of parliament for Pandai won the elections with a decisive margin of 3,734 votes. A decisive margin. Not double digits, not triple digits, these quadruple digits. 3,734 votes. The petitioners' own evidence when they went to court. In fact, they were challenging just 41 polling stations or so. And the votes involved in that 41 polling stations, we are just talking about 500 votes. 500 votes. 500 votes cannot conceivably overturn a margin of 3,734 votes. No. This is primary school arithmetic. Yet, this judge brazenly voided the entire elections. How? By what calculation? By simply ignoring the affected results requirement. The court lived recklessly from there were irregularities to void the elections. This is not law. This is not justice. Clearly, this is injustice. Ladies and gentlemen, our elections manual is explicit. Where proving irregularities could not possibly change the results, the elections must stand. The Supreme Court affirmed this in Ennis versus Electoral Commission. An election is not to be invalidated where the outcome manifestly reflects the majority will. The judge discarded these sacred principles. The judge spat on binding precedent. This is judicial vandalism. Now again, let me refer you to Regulation 48 as well. The judgment declares the petitioner absent from the relocated collation center, a fatal breach of natural justice. But here, the true outrage that exposes this judgment as a sham, the court deliberately, systematically ignored Regulation 48.2 of CI 127. And what does CI 127 say? Let me state the law clearly. Regulation 48.2 states unambiguously that the non-attendance of candidates or agent does not invalidate acts lawfully done by the returning officer. This is what Regulation 48 says. Yet, the judge had to void the entire elections, annul all the entire elections. Why? Because the candidate wasn't there. The agents were not there. So the judge had to annul the results and call for a rerun. This is black letter law. It exists for a vital reason. But the reason why we have Regulation 48.2 is to prevent a candidate's deliberate absence from becoming a weapon to void elections. The Electoral Commission's witness affirmed this under cross-section. Yet, this judge scandalously ignored it, allowing a general principle to brazenly trump an express statutory provision. This is not interpretation. this is dictatorship from the bench. Clearly, in this case, you could see that the burden of proof was cynically manipulated by this judge. Observe the court's cynical double standards. It refused to find the petitioner led the vandalism that forced the EC to relocate the collation center, claiming there were insufficient evidence. It declared it would not speculate. But then, miraculously, when assessing whether irregularities affected the results, speculation became acceptable. Vague, unsubstantiated assertions were deemed sufficient. The petitioner produced no credible alternative tally. He called no agents from the disputed polling stations. He never demonstrated how the 500 votes could overturn a 3,734 vote lead, almost 4,000. Yet, this judge granted the most drastic relief possible, voiding the entire elections, disenfranchising thousands, and rewarding the petitioner for his evidentiary failure. In many shocking ways, this is perversion of burden of proof. It is a classic case of brazen judicial malpractice. Let us now examine the most consequential failure, its reckless abandonment of the constitutional duty to act proportionally. Section 19, again, let me refer to Section 19 of the PNDC Law 284, gives the High Court only 3 tightly framed choices: cancel the elections, seat another candidate, or dismiss the petition. This is not arbitrary menu. It is sacred, limited grant of power, because these choices directly touch Article 42, right of every citizen to vote and to be counted, and the court is constitutionally bound by Article 23 and 296 to use that power cautiously, fairly, and in a manner that preserves the voter's real choice whenever the law makes it possible. Ladies and gentlemen, our jurisprudence is unequivocal on how this duty must operate. In Ennis versus Electoral Commission, the court found the returning officer had breached the law. Yet, instead of voiding the entire pool, it used Section 19B to declare the petitioner duly elected, emphasizing that a whole election could not be invalidated if the result still reflects the majority will. This principle was elevated to the highest level in 2013 presidential elections petition. The Supreme Court, adopting the Midhurst versus Lau test, held that proving non-compliance will not justify voiding a pool if the election was really and in substance conducted under the law and result was not and could not reasonably be supposed to have been affected. This is settled doctrine of substantial compliance. Elections are to be upheld where breaches do not overturn the people's choice. The court itself accepted many defects were mere administrative errors, clerical errors, and that could be addressed through scrutiny or recollation under the law. The petitioner's own originally reflected this reality. He sought targeted relief in only 41 polling stations, not a wholesale cancellation of the constituency's choice. The evidence was clear. Every single Form 8A existed. The results was gazetted. The raw materials to ascertain the true will of the people were all present and available. Despite this, the court straight away went to the harshest of the three Section 19 outcomes, a full constituency-wide rerun. Its justification that some collation materials were destroyed. How can this be? The petitioners themselves presented 41 polling stations as disputed. And then the judge said, oh, you got 41, don't worry, I'll give you all the 151. How ridiculous. But the judgment provides no convincing reason why the loss of these materials made it possible to reconstruct the lawful majority from the existing Form 8As. It offers no justification for why narrower remedies, a scrutiny, a retabulation, or at most a limited rerun were inadequate or even considered. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the core, unforgivable flaw, where our case law insists on proportionate vote-preserving remedies. This judgment defaults to nuclear relief, where precedents command caution to respect the sovereign will. This court exercised caprice. It did not use Section 19 in the careful, constitution-compliant manner. It acted not as a guardian of constitutional rights, but as an agent of their destruction. This is not a lawful judicial order. It is a fatal constitutional dereliction. Put differently, this is not justice. This is judicial brutality against the sovereign will of the people. Now, let me turn your attention to the most dangerous precedent in this judgment: rewarding violence. Now, we arrive at the most outrageous, the most terrifying part of this abomination. It was the violent criminal act of the petitioner's supporters that forced the relocation of the coalition. The petitioner marshaled his supporters to go and destroy electoral materials. They vandalized the center. They destroyed materials. And this created terror. And that is why the Electoral Commission had to relocate the coalition center. And now, the judge declares that because the petitioner was not notified of the new venue, a venue made necessary by his own supporters' violence, the entire elections must be voided. Do you comprehend this perversity? Do you see this catastrophic precedent? There is an ancient, sacred legal principle. An evildoer must not benefit from his evils. The judgment violates that principle entirely. It rewards violence and chaos. The message is chilling. If you are losing an elections, create chaos, create tension, destroy the materials available, then run to the court and claim your rights have been violated. That is what is happening. If this stands, it will destroy our democracy. It will turn every elections into battleground. It will make thuggery profitable. This is not law, certainly. This will result in the death of our democracy. We categorically reject this monstrous principle. We call on the appellate courts of this land to uproot this poison before it infects our entire jurisprudence. Let this be heard by all. Our condemnation of this judicial abomination is marked not only by our decisive, unified, and lawful actions. The New Patriotic Party stands as one solid rock behind the Member of Parliament for Pandai, Honorable Martin Nyinda. His fight is our fight. His cause is our cause. And his cause will be the cause of every New Patriotic Party member. With the full authority, resources, and total backing of the entire NPP, Honorable Nyindam has taken the following immediate and formidable legal actions. 1. First, he has filed a seal of execution against the orders of this bogus judgment, halting any illegitimate rerun in its tracks. Number 2, he has filed a powerful notice of appeal to the Court of Appeal, respectfully praying to the total overturn of this legal travesty. And third, recognizing the grave constitutional injury inflicted, he has initiated an application of certiorari at the Supreme Court, respectfully calling on the highest court of the land to quash this perverse judgment and restore constitutional order. We are deploying the full force of our legal arsenal within the framework of our law. Our weapons are the Constitution, precedents, and an unshakable commitment to justice. To the resilient people of Pandai, Honorable Martin Nyindam and your people, we send this message directly to you. We see you clearly expressed way, written in the indelible ink of 3,732 votes. We hear your sovereign voice, which this judgment tried to silence. Do not lose heart. The New Patriotic Party has not abandoned you. We have not retreated. We are with you completely and unfailingly. We will walk every step of this legal journey with you. We will fight in every court at every hour, with every resource at our command, to defend the mandate of the mandate you freely gave. Your victory was legitimate. Your choice was just. And we will not rest until the choice is vindicated and your rightful member of parliament restored. This is our sacred pledge. Now, there's a sinister and a calculated agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, this catastrophic judgment did not happen in isolation. It is part of a deliberate pattern. It is a thread in a sinister, calculated agenda by the NDC and President Mahama to use captured state institutions to silence the opposition, suppress dissenting views, and hold Ghana's democracy hostage. Look at the fact, since assuming power, the NDC has waged relentless assault on democratic norms. The unlawful removal of the Chief Justice. In Ablekumanov, we witnessed the criminal annexation of our seat, a daylight robbery, state-sponsored thuggery, marred the partial rerun. Our stalwart, including Honorable Howard Kumsing and the Deputy National Organizer, Chris Lloyd, were beaten. They were harassed. The perpetrators received a mere court fine. We chose peace and stability and did not escalate. In Apatia, votes were bought openly, shamelessly, and systematically. And let us never forget the vice chairman of the NDC, Sofa Boka, and that of an NDC communicator, their chilling threats to eliminate the minority leader, my good self, and Honorable Another, and reckless incitement still unanswered for in our courts. And this assault is not confined to our courtroom. We will see it now in even in the House of Parliament, that is the chamber, the People's House. We see the machinations to harass and intimidate members of the New Patriotic Party, to suppress their voices through a dishonest and autocratic misuse of rules of procedure, a clear breach of both the spirit and letter of the Constitution of Ghana. We know they have made our courageous minority leader and some party stalwarts their target, seeking to silence the most powerful voices in the New Patriotic Party that holds government to account. But let this warning echo through the corridors of Parliament, that we in the New Patriotic Party will not allow their evil plot to succeed in any way. We will have our say in that house. We will oppose their fraud, their corruption, their abuse of power, and with relentless clarity. We will use every legitimate tool within parliamentary practice to ensure that the voice of the people, as represented by their elected members, is never stifled by the tenoring of the majority. Attempting to mute the minority is an attack on democracy itself, and we shall resist it outrightly. But the NDC must never mistake our commitment to peace for weakness. They must never confuse our restraint for surrender. Now, they bring their outrageous Pandai judgments. Now they threaten a showdown. Now they have the audacity to argue our lawfully elected candidate should not sit in parliament. This is not democracy. This is dictatorship, masquerading as law. The NPP puts the NDC on firm notice. We will not stand idle while you destroy our institutions. We will not be silent while you pervert justice. We will not allow you to criminally annex seats you could not win at the ballot box. And even the NDC schemes to enrich itself, governance, to entrench itself, governance collapses. Our senior high school students have started failing at record rates. Their futures are in jeopardy, and there is no plan. Gold Board and others sponsor the destruction of our water bodies through Galamsey. Our rivers die, our forests vanish, and state institutions look away. 1 million tons of local rice rot whilst farmers weep. Insecurity rises. Ghanaians no longer feel safe in their own country. Electricity tariffs increased 3 times this year. Water up. This is not governance. 24-hour economy in shambles. This is catastrophic failure on an epic scale. This is not the Ghana we handed over to the NDC. Our unshakable commitment. Let me state clearly that we stand. The NPP is committed to constitutionalism, the rule of law, and responsible opposition. We reject violence, but commitment does not make us dormant. Constitutionalism does not mean accepting lawlessness from those in power. The rule of law applies to all, including government, judges, and the president. We have been patient. We have been restrained. We have prioritized peace, but our patience has limits. If the NDC continues on this path of institutional capture and democratic subversion, they will find a different NPP, a party ready to defend democracy with every lawful tool at its disposal. To the Court of Appeal and Supreme Court, the Kandai judgment is fundamentally and catastrophically flawed. It misapplies the law, ignores regulation, manipulates evidence and abandons proportionality, and rewards violence. These are not minor errors. These are defects that strike the heart of electoral justice. We respectfully urge you to set this dangerous judgment aside. Restore the mandate of the people of Pandai that Pandai overwhelmingly gave. Uproot this vicious precedence. To President Mahama and the NDC, we see what you are doing. Every scheme, every plot. We will not be silent. We will not surrender. To the media, the people of Ghana, stay vigilant. Your democracy is under severe attack and threat. Speak up. Stand up. Do not let this country slip back into authoritarian rule. To our members and supporters, stay strong. Stay peaceful. Stay ready. The fight for Ghana's democracy is not over. It has just begun, and we shall win. And again, on this same matter, how the state plan to capture, the New Patriotic Party has taken serious note on a grave disclosure made on Joy FM's Newsfile program on 6th December 2025. These revelations cut to the heart of Ghana's democratic order, and raise urgent questions about coordinated interactions occurring under the guise of institutional independence. During a live panel discussion on Joy News for our program on Saturday, December 6th, the Director of Communication Strategy and Research at the Office of Special Prosecutor revealed the existence of a government-sponsored WhatsApp group that includes officers of the OSP, security institutions, representations from the Supreme Court, hand-picked journalists, and civil society organization leaders. The shocking disclosure was confirmed by the host of the show, Mr. Samson Ladi, who named Yoko, the Ghana Police Service, Shraj, and the OSP, and also representatives from the Supreme Court, judges, as some of the members on what, in our view, is a cabal. When Mr. Ayene, who is presumed to be independent host of Newsfile, explained that the government set up the WhatsApp group because we have been given work to do. What kind of work? We have been given, the government has given this group work to do. He exposed the rotten core. This is yet another irrefutable proof of President Mahama's and the NDC's blueprint for an elective dictatorship. What has been exposed by elements of this dark governance is the secret government-run virtual meeting place created by the office of the president to ensnare our nation's most critical independent voices and institutions. Supreme Court judges, the special prosecutor, investigative agencies, and hand-picked journalists are all on the take and on the same page, a page written and controlled by the NDC administration. This is not about fighting corruption. It is about muzzling the fighters of corruption. It is about fighting the fight against corruption. It is about corrupting anti-corruption institutions. The scheme is now clear. Criminalize the opposition in the false name of anti-corruption for partisan gains. 2. Compromise and muzzle every watchdog, CSOs, judges, journalists, unions, clergy, from seeing, hearing, and speaking evil against this government. Ghanaians need to know, are journalists and CSOs leaders being paid for this conspiratorial service? And if so, are they paid with public funds? They must come clean on the job they have been tasked to pay for. These are legitimate questions Ghanaians are asking. A democracy cannot function when security agencies, anti-corruption bodies, and elements of the judiciary engage in secret collaboration and in conspiracy with selected media and civil society actors. Such a dark and crooked enterprise neutralizes transparency, weakens accountability, and risks turning independent state institutions into instruments of coordinated partisan control. If these disclosures are accurate, and the evidence presented thus far suggests that they are, then Ghana faces one of the most serious institutional challenges of the Fourth Republic. The independence of the OSP is fundamentally compromised if senior staff of the office participates in coordinated and secret forums and platforms to conspire with journalists and CSOs. 2. Iyoko and police officers sharing information outside official channel may breach professional ethics and legal obligations. 3. Judges appearing in informal networks with activists, media actors, security agencies, investigators, and prosecutors risk undermining confidence in judicial impartiality. These are not features of a healthy constitutional system. The NPP therefore calls for the following actions. A full public explanation from the OSP and other institutions regarding the purpose, membership, and operations of this secret WhatsApp platform. A parliamentary inquiry into this matter, with all relevant individuals and institutions called to explain their roles in the nature of this group activities. 3. An audit, where necessary, to determine whether confidential material has been shared outside authorized channels. 4. Administrative, professional, or legal action where any breaches of protocol are confirmed. And 5. Full transparency from any CSO leaders and journalists who are participants on this secret government WhatsApp group. These developments reinforce long-standing concerns that some influential voices in the media and civil society are not operating with the independence expected of them when actors who shape public opinion, coordinate secret and with state institutions, confidence in oversight, fairness, accountability are sacrificed and democracy suffers. The NPP remains committed to defending the integrity of Ghana's democratic institutions. That commitment requires preventing any informal networks, whether within politics, civil society, or the media, from compromising our institutional neutrality and influencing decision making, including investigative, prosecutorial, and judicial decisions outside established channels. We therefore urge Ghanaians to demand clarity and insist on full disclosure about the mission and motive of this secret government cum civil society underground group. We must insist on transparency because the future of our democracy depends on this. In conclusion, the people of Kwandai voted freely. They chose their member of parliament by crushing margin of 3,734 votes. The vote is sacred. The voice is sovereign. A flawed judgment cannot silence it. A captured judiciary cannot overturn it. Violence cannot be rewarded. Thuggery cannot triumph. The New Patriotic Party stands today as a fierce defender of the vote, the voice, and Ghanaians' democracy. We will pursue lawful means to abort this travesty. We will fight. We will protect this constitution. We will never surrender. We will never give up on Ghana. God bless the New Patriotic Party. God bless our beloved Ghana. And may God defend our democracy against all enemies. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Media for Yeshewa. And then you're different. Mama Hemia, you should do something rubber. Ghana for Kotuaba, Ghana for Kasai. Yet to me, a share. President Mahama, and the NPP for himself. Now, sad to me, I demand when I come here, for some of Ghana for Affinie, Ghana for the to me, a share one, sir. Near Gaia Pen, who need in Punto, near Yer Pen, who need a bush out share Ghana for 24-hour economy, Gabay, Nadia Juma, and they in Europe. Near Ghana for air pen and a hotel, and then Kanya boy at Tutum, and then in Zoom boy at Tutum, and then some make us say, Galam say, Yetua Maya say ye be and then a James Samu Ayakan time. And this is for the gold water bar, and no, and now, and Galam say, look at AD. That's on top of your gold if you can say for you. Internet, and these executives in Namo, agents, I will call you most say a pioneer so. But the other FBI and these executives, I say, you are President Mahama, as she was said, but why are you by the neck? Even easy. Never near a bear and I didn't say, or that can't be a Casabua, I shall hear. Near any of the other percent of far, a quite bonny bishop never do one side. The Becaya, you inquire your day, Chief Justice of us. We are set for an engine, come out, crack a city. And then you give your mammy official. And chair no one. Almost a sponsor, and your petition be a PCD electoral commission. And then the chief for the free home. Now, Yakadamia Soria, Pandai, Honorable Matthew Yinda. Wetin kunim, and your man will be a and son and 90 or her, near Helubino Kunimo. In Pemia son, a chile, a handsome, and a dear son 9. 3,734 votes. No, the Duke. And this is what every assembly court. Omoni court, Omona Casaman do want someone to call. I'm saying 41 out of the over 150 police stations and on home Asamka. In fact, on one dance in here, I'm going to go to Nakabukran. On no planning can say about Mokan Assembly now, 500 votes. And you are not going to form a shame. A sit there at 500 votes. Now, a 41 police stations will you know. Jaja or Tina John our tamale. ɛnam kwati kwan so ɛkyinkyim yɛ mmara no ɛsi yɛ mmara ne tiri ase na ɔse wɔatwa abatoa yɛto yɛ ne nyinaa mu asefem Ghana mmara no ɛda adi pefee sɛ ansa na wobɛtwa ɛyɛ abatoa bi no yɛdi kan ɔsɔ kyerɛ mu sɛ nneɛma bi kɔɔ so a ɛtiatia mmara na saa nneɛma no ɛkɔɔ so a ɛtiatia mmara no saa nneɛma no ɛwɔ nsunsuansoɔ a abatoɔ no ɛyɛ ne ebie firi mu no ɛbɛtumi adane yɛni yɛwura Honorable Martin every year by 3,734. Almost the one said, court, he said, about 500 pen and the watching. A sit there in a court or 10 general. A timid child, a year about to a couture, a year can die, constitution. A more realm, a more realm, a poor, which ye and some more fast also of your criminal. I say, oh. Na parliamentary candidate no more any coalition center parliamentary candidate is although who say all the jono and so an manfo and I go here to trust them and will be na only coalition e ko say niema e papa niema ballot box yi o hye no afei na ama e ho pa yehu e no be nam so e ma electoral commission ka sa na tie dia and ya ba no also we go from no court am so ko kinkan Judge said, some say a year petitioner, and I say NDC, or candidate anybody, which and man soon says, and now say a year returning officer, or yet the 2 million on my council, not impo, one of see a kind of crowd, or money hope. And I say, oh, my name was in the 1 It was so, I can kind of banner, Eddie, 2 jack and money. Judge will sit and run the dress. A yama and never be I do. Now, I'm not tired of Coab Manov. Electoral Commission formed from January, Ekaya said, a woman here said, about Phobia. Son said, a police station can crave no see a young police, then one already declared. Omo Parliament Cocassini. You don't want to say after actually, no, no, Jacobus already. That's all you have to do. You have to talk about 19 police stations. You will hear me to trust them at the body. Abusia, your best say, you were President Mahama said. Ghana for the 2 years and 7. Ghana for Anton Ghana and Farmer NDC. And His Excellency the President, Anton Ghana Farmer. Ghana ain't over Japan yet. Yet the Ghana Shaman Sa, one and Black Council and the Yodia. Now, when you come here, quite say, you can say you did a room, you can say a chitching, and you pay no say woman, one of them cassettia by Crampono. You can say a cow cassabois, and it shall be you. You air cosmier, and then the woman about the top judicial so. Mrs. Judiciary for Ghana for Yakawachi, more beyond for whom towns and then quarter. Judge cried to me, a coty animal farm. As part of your ruling. And for far Idi Amin alone. How? A woman about the top attacks to the so. Mr. You best say court of appeal. Say Embrana, a year high court judge or Tamale. Or see the trust Mr. Martin Tenny and Yeduma. A beam Yasawo. Assembly years I got to a Supreme Court. Yes, Supreme Court. More Mukaye. Ewo emrade briade se twam Elus versus the Electoral Commission ya yen semwa mubaka ya 2013 presidential petition court ne can say ya to abawie na 70 no ho se bam bibia ntwede a ewo se court ne ka say bibia ntwede no ewo nsunsunso se ebekwa atia abato no e ma ifiri mu ba ya we say a court for. Niagana air coswa, you baby chitchery, ye cannot make a position. A ya you, but a Russian want to say the new patriotic party. Yea, your casa boy to me can't share your muda. Mrakwan bia so a ose fa so. Ne gyina brane. Ne kasam. Ne dede. Ne pusu ya ho. Ne ma Ghana fo ne President Mahama who say, "Sebia nyanto, sebia pronto. Yanton Ghana fa mo." Ye de Ghana show no sa omo gade ni emfie na yeti. Na Ghana fo na sa fa kwakire ni ayemfa Ghana sanche ne sebi. Afi ba ku ni. Abayi che ya de pote pa wotimi aye. Another time go before the buy first year of the free SHS buy. Abayi enyama na Ghana no ka 24-hour economy. And then mo catch en this new government go dwan. Mo go afi. Me stress eno ni ade you Mahama ehwe. Na akwanya here fast one, you person see em letters. Kamo ka be mu ye kashe. Any attention in so no. As ye chiam, you best say Ghana for now. Now no enche bia joy for news father we. And na OSP. Abrante ba ko ye gbon o same da kun. On the you in charge of communication strategy. They be to just say about creative platform bia. One omoye civil society was be. Ya selected journalists for news was be. And at the day OSP no Attorney General, the Yoko, police, akaho, na ye any a team one for judges as almost what's our platform this week. Near who pardon. Said judges in super platform this week. Not needing now air cose a buying and now Sandy going down in such as here. Now Sabina couldn't count news for it is being sponsored by the government. And the presidency now sponsors Adewi. So a semba kwane kwatia aba yenhwenye kwatia ne yembre ya no ase. Eti me se media for na se bo hwa se bo ho be pia. Na se wa hwe omo sanitary parts omo de buy. Tan wa be ka tell say ya sanitary parts so. E dia ba say 50 cedis. Wo so kokoto obi na ko commercial for a. Wo to dey say 45 cedis. Anya dia kan o. And you open a documentary, months and one document. Media for you have been quiet. This is serious, this is scandalous. Who will not see at this one near the kind of Ministry of Finance? See at it. Never go quack or talk, dear Quanaco, the Bebrays are. Pardon, so quack in excess of about 12 billion or so. Fair 6.6 billion or more. Who told the crack and the bonus yet? Ogun kontana sika akọ obi bottom sika akọ shenkofo bottom aya more than 193 billion ha when you can one budget most motor say most budget no motor 45 Ghana cedis most ya so and you 15 say people say no come so and then when you na come across here can why? Because you had an overwhelming majority and the parliament, an overwhelming majority. Young Peroye, and then Kuntinase, near the Mraba, near Shenia Cop. Ubia Film into the Mofagan of Volume. Sessa Betunia Ghana for the Mono. Ghana for Yafom no moon. Or more than Kuntia Sabian could play. Or more than Kuntia and several could get to Kaya. And someone chairman mosquito kaya, and someone Samijan kaya. Saying, young player, and Pomia, you go judge and fear, or no, and a year deputy. Roja, and also the Mogasi. Someone can Kasiaka say now. And now when there is a pocket to play the Rabaku. Mokotoma Kuma 9. Said they also get Kagana for Casabasho, Momonka, it will be Piaget, and their far, yet the Raha. Mr. Yena Brani. Ye Cassentia Monia Cosso. Ye Mumu said, I'm Tom Ghana far home. Ghana no Majapa here. A bushel for Yamisha, Madame. You can't copy that.
Thank you very much, the national organizer. Please, let me be quiet. I hope the message is clear. I don't know if you have any questions, but my understanding is that the message is clear. And if you don't have any questions, I guess I'll just add to what our national organizer said, which is very clear, that these matters are matters that should occupy your attention. You should give it airtime. And the temptation that I am falling into is to begin to ask you, media people, and some of you here, and your colleagues who are not here, whether or not you are part of that government platform. And if indeed you are part of that platform, then it explains a lot. Why is it that obvious things that are happening, this whole currency matter that we are seeing, they are artificially pumped in dollars, depleting our reserve to strengthen the city. You see it, you know what they have done, but people can't say it. Is it because some of you are part of the platform why you can't speak? The civil society organization people used to be very forceful. They wanted Galamsey stop. They want this done. They want this done. Today, they are quiet. Is it because they are part of the platforms? The Panda issue. Already, we have a ruling that is absurd. Ruling that goes against common sense. But for some reason, it happened. The national organizer said that some fear has entered into the judiciary. Is it because some of them are part of the platform? So please, these are matters that borders on our democracy. It is not, as I stated earlier, it is not an NPP issue. It is not an NDC issue, I should say, but to a large extent, it's about our democracy, which is the reason why we should unite in calling on the government and calling on the NDC to desist from trying in ways to undermine our democracy. So please, let's not make this a partisan issue. Give it the coverage it deserves. Ask your colleagues when they get back, are they part of that? And why are you not part of it if you are not? And if it's a genuine cause to promote any anti-corruption or anything to advance the cause of journalism, why is every journalist not part of it and certain select people? What is it they are doing? We want to know. Please ask those questions and make it appear that you are working for Ghana and not for anybody, because that's the only way. Tomorrow you have the opportunity to put your cameras here and listen, because democracy affords you that opportunity. So if you must defend democracy, this is the occasion. Go out there and ask the critical questions. Put pressure on the government. Call the government spokesperson, the Minister for Communication for this government, our brother Felix Pachofosu. Ask him, what is that platform about? Who created that platform? Are the journalists specifically selected? Not you, but those on there, are they being paid? With what money? And what job are they doing for this country? I understand one person has a question. If you state your question, then we can have the national organizer address it.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm Ken, withdrawing news. I have two questions. So the first one is that the national organizer maintained that they will follow the law, and the minority in parliament has stated categorically that per the law, since the issue is in court, this room MP. Is that the position of the NPP, that the NPP as a party also maintained that Matthew Mindam is still an MP for Pandai? The second one is that your opponents, the NDP as well.
Any other question before? Okay, very well. I think you had a question.
First of all, it is not true. It's clear falsehood that we are in Pandai campaign. It is not true. In fact, what I'm aware of is some important prominent chiefs in Pandai. They registered their displeasure against this ruling. The people, the youth, also protested in Pandai. So as we speak, for me, we are not there. We are not, because there's a precedent. Do not forget the Chikwesi case, where after the High Court in Cape Coast declared that he is no longer an MP and that there should be a new run, there was a stay. And the principle was that we need to wait for the Court of Appeal to determine this matter. And until that time, we never had the by-election in Nassau. So there's that precedent. So I don't know why there's that rush to change it this time. So for me, I see Honorable Yinda as our MP still, and we support whatever Parliament is doing. I mean, we must make this clear. We support 100% our parliamentary caucus. We had a meeting with them this morning, myself, the acting chairman, and we signaled to them of our unflinching support. So today we had that meeting and it was clear. I know that they also have series of activities in Parliament today. I'm sure your colleagues will also handle it. Then, lastly, you mentioned, that's the one. Yes, so I think that it is quite clear. Thank you very much, media. As my director said, make sure that you do the needful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, media, for coming. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So, cameras off. All right.